Kia ora everybody, my name is Andrea. You might have already seen me interviewing the wonderful Anna, and we talked about the mother's role with Pathways to Manhood. But now I've got the great pleasure of interviewing Andy and his son Sean, who have been involved with Pathways for a number of years. And I'll just let him tell you a bit about himself. And we just really want to hear from you, Andy, about how you got involved in Pathways, and just share a bit of your story. Would be great.
Cool, thanks, Andrea. It's really, really good to be talking with you. Yeah, I got involved in Pathways about 13 years ago. So Pathways is put on by the Essentially Men Education Trust, and what they do is they run a number of programs for men and boys, and in fact men of all ages. And the whole basis of the program is they're just teaching men to be authentic and real. And so I did this program and I thought it was amazing. And when I came out of it, I heard about a program called Pathways, which Essentially Men also ran. And essentially this program was like a rite of passage for young men. So, and that really, really, I felt I really wanted to be a part of that. My father was probably like a lot of fathers, worked very, very hard. He was a good provider. His duty was to his providing money and clothing for his family, and he did a really, really good job of that. But for me, I didn't get a lot of time with Dad, one-on-one time. In fact, I can remember, just one or two occasions where I did get time with my dad, one-on-one. One of them, he took me up to Coromandel on a fishing trip. We spent about a week up near Little Bay and on the east coast of Coromandel Peninsula. And as a young man, it was just amazing to have one-on-one time with Dad. And I'm 56 years old now, and I can still remember that holiday. And I just wish that I'd had more of it. And I find that a lot. I see it a lot where the boys don't spend a lot of time with their dads, and they really want it. They really, really want it. So yeah. So anyway, I got involved with the program. I loved it. It's powerful, amazing. It's good. It's good for the young men, and it's great for the fathers. I've been on team for quite a few years now, and I couldn't wait to get Sean on the course. Oh no, it's not a course, it's a program. And so Sean came up a little bit reluctantly, which is usually the case, but we did it about 4 years ago. So we've done the course together as well.
I think it's like if you know what you have been at and he has no idea, it's so hard to if they've not been to the campsite, they've not hung out with a whole lot of other boys the same age before in that kind of environment, or with their dads, it's hard for them to know exactly what it's going to entail. Sean, where did your reluctance come from? What was your sort of concerns or thoughts about it?
For me, yeah, I was very reluctant to go. Like, I think I got home from school and my dad was like, all right, we're going to do this thing called Pathways and you're going to do it. And straight away, I just thought, I don't want to do this. Like, straight away, because he said, oh, it's about bonding with your father or like a father with a son. And I straight away thought, don't we have any connection at all then? Is that what you're thinking? Like, so I was like, yeah, I don't want to go to this. We've already got somewhat of a good connection. So,
yeah. Okay, no, fair enough. And that could be the case for many kids who already have a good connection. I've even spoken to a father who says, I do have a great connection with my son, and he was concerned that the values that he'd already put into his son, that he might be letting someone else put those values into his son. And it was really great to be able to reassure him that, from what I've understood of Pathways, is about reinforcing the values that you already have, and it's about solidifying the bond that you already have. And there will be people who will go to create a connection, because there will be boys who don't have that bond with their father, and it will be a great opportunity to kind of spark that, I guess. So there'll be all sorts of different people who come along. But what's the one thing that you found between you both? How has it affected your relationship since being at Pathways?
I guess it has reinforced our relationship. It hasn't created any more bonds or anything. It's just reinforced that we do have a connection. So back to my previous point.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Interestingly, my brother did it with his son. So my nephew, and no, there was no. They just did it independently. I didn't talk to them about it, and it was good for them. And I was talking to them just around Christmas time, and they were basically saying, yeah, it did change things. It did change their relationship on quite a fundamental level, where they could. It opened the dialogue. It opened the dialogue between them, and I think, like in one of the other videos you've said, and I've mentioned that your kid's not going to come home and suddenly start making their bed. It's not like that, but it gives the young men they come away with something a little bit more self-confidence, and I've noticed that a little bit more confident about what it is to be a man. The other thing you just mentioned too, Andrea, that the young men are exposed to a group of men. So I can tell Sean how much I love him and tell him this all the time, but it's also good to have it reinforced by in a community of men where we're all fathering these young men. It's quite amazing to hear your dad talking, which is good, but then to hear other men talking as well, and having young men just share the experiences and building that confidence whereby they can talk to other men about what's going on, and knowledge can be passed on.
Yeah, it's a collective collective input, like all these men who have forged their way into manhood well or not so well, and all sharing their advice and wisdom from their great choices or the wisdom they've gained from their mistakes, and realizing as men that they're not alone, and the boys realizing as boys that they're not alone, and that someone's gone before them and made the same mistakes as them. That must be really validating. Yeah,
and again, it's just men being authentic and talking from the heart. And from what I've observed is that boys, there's not a lot of it around, and where are you going to get your information from of what it is to be a man? I know that for me it was certainly getting my driver's license or drinking a lot, but these aren't necessarily, it's not necessarily becoming a man. Or young men can be talking to their mates who are probably just as clueless as they are about what it is. So there's no real source of information, and that's why it's such a amazing thing to do, is go away into a community of men and be fathered by men. It's a good thing to be involved with.
Do you feel like it affected you in a certain way as well?
Oh, I didn't quite catch that, Andrea.
Yeah, you kind of cut out there, sorry.
I was just wondering how it impacted you. Like, is it just a program for your son to learn how to become a man, or did it impact you as a father in some way as well?
You want to go first?
Yeah, okay. I just see there's such a need for it. There is such a need for young men, boys. They want this. They may not know how to ask for it. I mean, New Zealand's changing. You've got people like John Kerwin now stepping up to say, it's okay to be depressed or not, recognising it, machism, all this, the male stereotypes changing. New Zealand's changing. I just want to see more of it, that we've still got horrible suicide statistics. A lot of them are young men. I just see this as a way of opening and helping young men. I'm absolutely passionate about it. If we get good young men, you'll have good that's it. We're just growing good men. Yeah. And the analogy I use, sorry, Sean, is we're putting the ambulance at the top of the cliff. Sometimes with the Essentially Men program that I went through, the Men Being Real weekend, fantastic weekend, amazing. But it's the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff type of stuff. the way I see it with the pathways, we're sort of parking the ambulance at the top and maybe getting in before things, while young men are still receptive and open to things.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, mate, I'll let you talk now. I forgot.
No, you just said what I was going to say before.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Awesome. My son is 15 and he's going to go along to Pathways. He's going with his dad, and for me this is important because I've been largely raising him on my own for the last 2 years, and he visits his dad every second weekend, and that's really limited time. And his father has been, we live in different cities, so there's no way we can rearrange shared care any differently. And it's really important for my son to, he's been living with me from 13 years old to 15 years old full time. So I can't define his manhood as a mother. There's no way I can kind of step into those shoes. So this time with his dad is going to be really special, and they're both really looking forward to it. But Jordan doesn't really know what to expect. So do you have any advice for my son or for other sons who are going, Sean, about how they can kind of prepare to be there?
yeah, sure. Just be completely open-minded about the entire situation. Just don't think about what you're going to do there. Just embrace it and just be completely open-minded when you're going forward into it.
Thank you. That's good advice. I'm sure it's advice you can probably only really give now that you've been there, and now you can give that advice. And you probably would have given that advice to yourself before you went, in hindsight. But at the time, it was probably hard to see what it was going to be. So
Yeah,
I appreciate those thoughts will be helpful for other boys who are not too sure. Yeah.
I could understand the fear though. The boys imagine saying you're going to be going on a campsite, you don't know where it is, and there's going to be no electronic devices. I mean, they'll be like, what are we going to do? But trust me, there's this really awesome bunch of men, and it's an awesome program.
And I think every time I have taken a device off my children for a period of time, they've never been mad about it at the end of the 3 days or the week that they've not been without their device. They always love it. They'll always, I know they'll be grateful for that time not on their devices. And in fact, I went to Outward Bound in September and had 8 days without my device. And I knew I'd be okay with it. I'm an adult, but I came out of Outward Bound way less dependent on my device as well. And having the very present relationships with the people you're with for those 8 days are so much more present, because you know that no one's going to go on their devices and that you're going to have really meaningful interactions.
Yeah, it was something, and I was thinking for the fathers, the fathers may be thinking, what's this all about? But I remember, like I've said to you earlier, boys want it. They really want that time with their dads. They may not be able to express it, but I literally heard a young man at the camp was talking about what he wanted from his dad, and they had a question to him, and they said, hey, what's the best part of your day? To this young man, and he said, it's when dad drops me off at school, because he just drives me to school and I love it. I'm sitting there in the car with my dad. We don't have to be saying anything, but I've got his undivided attention before he goes to work. And the same things come up as well. What do you enjoy doing with your dad? And it can be things like, dad might be on the roof fixing the roof, and I'm passing him nails, And for something a lot of men would think, do I have to go and do something with my son? But it's these little things. But again, you can't read about it in a book. You've got to go and experience and talk to your son about it and understand. It really does deepen the connection. You really do get to talk. So it's awesome.
That's really cool. Thank you guys for spending some time and having a think about how you can help other people understand what Pathways is. And I also understand that there's an element of mystery and surprise, that you're not going to tell us, what you do from 9 till 5 each day. That's part of the fun, is going along and just riding the wave of what is Pathways. So yeah, but I think the key thing, it's not about what you do while you're at Pathways, it's about the results that you get, and that redefining manhood for our young boys in the nation. And I think that's really important.
That's awesome. It is good. It's a really good one. Thanks, Andrea. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us about it. Yeah.
No worries. Take care. See ya.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.